Hey, everybody, welcome into this, a special video edition of Talking Tactics where I answer listener questions. If you want to become a Patreon supporter, head on over to cincinnatисoccertalk.com/support and sign up. There is even a free level to become a Patreon supporter. If you ask questions over on Patreon, I'm pretty much guaranteeing, at least until this gets big enough, that I'm going to answer. So this week's question comes from Tim Sears on Patreon. Tim wants me to comment on the different play styles of DeAndre Yedlin and Lucas Engel. Tim posits that Engel tends to possess the ball, gets up the field higher, closer to the goal line, whereas Yedlin prefers to hit long passes. And when he gets forward, he prefers acting more as a target in the final third. Well, Tim, they're definitely different players with different styles. My eye test tells me that Lucas Engel is more adept at possessing the ball in tight spaces. He makes passes through tight windows. He tries to make give and goes, generally operates like you would want a wide midfielder, like an outside mid in a 4-4-2. He is part of that midfield, an attacker just as much as a defender. Whereas Yedlin, he operates more like a traditional right back, a defender, defense first. He doesn't want to make mistakes, doesn't want to take chances because defenders are worried, if I get caught forward, how am I going to transition back? What kind of hole am I going to leave my team in? So there are good things to both types of players, but playing as a wing back, you really want those guys to operate more like wide midfielders and take some chances. Yedlin is too apt to step on the ball and pull it back, pass it to a center back, or pass it back to Pavel Buka or Obi Wobodo, what we call recycle the play. You get the ball up and then you recycle it so it goes back into the engine room in the midfield and then go forward from there. He definitely can get forward to provide an option, but he doesn't do a lot with it. Engel cuts inside, tries to combine, does things where if he makes a mistake, he is caught out and the center backs have to account for that. I haven't seen anything that makes me think that it is definitively true that Yedlin is a better long passer than Lucas Engel, or even really that he hits more long passes. I think we all have in mind the one assist Yedlin has, which was a gorgeous long pass over the back line. And we think, yeah, Yedlin can do that. And I do think he is pretty skilled at hitting those long driven balls, but more so than Lucas Engel, it's hard to tell. What I thought we would do is I thought we would get on to SofaScore, which is a stat tracking website, and do a little bit of comparing for these players. So here's Lucas Engel and DeAndre Yedlin. You can see they're very similar types of players in terms of how they're valued, their overall score. And then when you get to the heat maps, you start to see that Lucas Engel definitely spends more time in the attacking parts of the pitch, closer to the goal, than DeAndre Yedlin does. The dark red indicates more time spent. Now, pretty similar numbers in terms of total minutes played. Engel's played a bit more appearances, which is good to note. Only 5 matches in 2025. That means these stats that we're about to look at that are per 90 stats, how often does that happen per 90 minutes played, are going to be inflated. It's only 5 matches, some of which these players didn't play all of the minutes. So this is a small sample size. So take that with a grain of salt. So let's first look at attacking numbers. Looks like these numbers are all pretty similar. I mean, shots off target is a little angle, maybe shoots more. It's tough to tell, but all of these are pretty similar. When you get down to passing accuracy, now this gets to be a little bit interesting because 0.6 over 0.48 and expected assists actually is statistically significant, I think, when you're talking about per 90 and only 5 matches. And you see also Lucas Engel creates one more big chance per 90 than DeAndre Yedlin. In fact, I don't think these could be possibly per 90. This must just be 3 on the season versus 2, whereas some of these decimal numbers are clearly per 90. So it's the hard thing about some of these statistical websites is they don't actually tell you what they're reporting, so you can kind of get the wrong idea. Looks like Lucas Engel hits more long balls per 90 and maybe completes a fewer of them. But obviously, if you're hitting more, you're usually going to complete more because those are low percentage balls. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. Gets forward for more crosses, but again, is probably less accurate with those. Now, here is really interesting. The fact that Lucas Engel also has better defensive numbers than DeAndre Yedlin, and these are definitely per 90 because you can see the decibels. I would have thought DeAndre Yedlin, with his defensive chops, would have had better numbers than Engel in this regard. Clearly, he doesn't. So this could indicate a little bit that Lucas Engel is just a younger, maybe a better player at this point in his career. But again, small sample size. I cannot say that enough. The other thing we really have to talk about here, especially when we talk about the heat map and the touches in the offensive third, is this actually what the player is good at? Or is this a Pat Noonan tactic where he favors the left side of the field? We saw that when we had Orishano and Barrial over there and Lucho floating that way. Maybe actually Pat Noonan just favors an unbalanced attack and really tries to shift things to the left side for some reason. Or maybe it's not even his tactics, but it's players like Evander preferring that. So it's kind of hard to tell whether that is exactly due to the player or whether it's actually just part of what happens, especially when you're having such a small sample size. Hopefully this was informative to you, Tim. Hopefully to the rest of you. Don't forget to go on to cincinnatисoccertalk.com/support. Become a Patreon supporter, ask your questions, and make sure you're subscribed wherever you're getting this so that you get my content as it comes out. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.